Hello, aloha and welcome, beautiful humans. This is Magdalena in another episode of Touchful Podcast, which is my little corner of the internet where I share everything that touches me and what it means for me to live a touchful life. And this is the second attempt to record this episode because I feel that the words are not flowing as easily as they normally flow for me. And I feel that right now, in a time of crisis, in a time of war in Ukraine and Russian invasion on Ukraine, that this time is a challenging time for humanity. It is a challenging time for me, definitely. I feel like I'm being challenged to revise or to remind myself what I really believe in this world. And this time doesn't feel easy, and I know that I'm not the only one who feels uneasy or lost or doubtful. The last weeks for me have been weeks when I so many times had thoughts that this is all going wrong and the earth should be cancelled and humanity should be cancelled and we should start all over again and maybe we will do better next time. But it's not going to happen. The world is not going to be cancelled. And it is what it is, and we are what we are. And the world is what it is, and it's really deeply touching me right now. Rising doubt, rising questions, and making it for me difficult to find words. There is this part of me that is asking this question, like, what do you want to talk about, Magdalena? There are no words. But I believe there are. So even though I feel shaken and I feel uneasy in these times, in these days, I will do my best, as always, to find the right words and to let them flow straight from the heart in authenticity and with truth, as I always try. And this episode might not be very coherent, like some of my episodes are really not coherent, but I can promise you that I will do my best to make sure that my words flow from the heart today. So today I would like to talk about big questions and big answers, big questions that I've been asking myself over and over again, especially over these last weeks, and the answers that came to me that I hope will be inspiring to some of you. So the title of this episode, if you check the title is Be the Change. And it is inspired by the famous quote, which is assigned to Mahatma Gandhi. And the quote is, "Be the change that you want to see in the world." And like I said, it's believed that Gandhi said it. It turns out that this is not exactly a quote from Gandhi, but yet it is a very famous quote. Be the change you want to see in the world. I have actually a huge poster in my apartment with these exact words to remind me and to inspire me and to remind me why I am here. So in this episode, I will be encouraging you, and by talking to you, I will feel that I will be encouraging myself to be the change that I want to see in the world, to be the world that I want to live in, to embody the world that I want to live in. And I got particularly inspired to record this episode after beautiful, heartful, truthful talk that I had with one of my students who is in a mentorship program with me, a few months intense Lomi mentorship program. And we had this talk in which he said that the other day, when we had some other conversation, he was so inspired and so moved by the fact that I was in some deeply emotional state, and at the same time I was really able to communicate my feelings, to express how I feel, and not to run away. And that got me thinking about why I do what I do, why I have difficult conversations, even though I sometimes want to run away because it feels easier. Why I speak to you on this podcast about topics that sometimes feel challenging or difficult or leave me exposed. Why I do that, even though it feels vulnerable. It got me thinking about why I practice Lomi Lomi, Hawaiian massage that I practice, in a way that I do it, which is inviting people on a transformational journey and inviting them to really open their hearts and opening my heart for them. Why I do all this, why I teach massage in the first place, why I do all this. And the answer that came to me was because I want to be the change that I want to see in the world. Because I believe in certain things and I want to live in a certain reality. And in order to live in a certain reality, to live in this kind of world, I know that I need to build it. I remember that a long time ago, I had this experience that I was sitting in a meditation and then this sentence came to me. The sentence, nobody is going to save you, Magdalena. You need to save yourself. And I didn't understand that fully, what it meant at that time. But now I do. And I believe that it's a message that nobody's going to birth the perfect world for you, that you need to birth it, that we need to birth it instead of waiting for a miracle, instead of hoping that things will get better one day, that we need to be the miracle. Remember in one of the episodes, I was sharing with you the message that you are the miracle and the miracle is you. I think it was the episode number 2. You can check it if you want to, if you haven't listened to it. That you are a miracle. And now I feel like another layer of understanding of these worlds is uncovering for me. That instead of waiting for a miracle, instead of waiting for the world to become a peaceful, happy, prosperous place where people live in harmony with nature and when people are open-hearted and where they live from the space of their own truth, instead of waiting for this world, we need to embody this world. We need to be this world. We need to make this happen. I want to make this happen. And I got this huge, huge, huge reminder that this is why I do everything that I do, to be the change that I want to see in the world. And I want to tell you today more about what it means for me and how it works in my life, and that sometimes it doesn't work at all, and this is also fine. So, to me, Lomi Lomi that I practice, the Hawaiian healing that I practice, this is not just a massage, this is a way of life. And by the way, hello, if you listen to me for the first time, I am a practitioner and teacher of Lomi Lomi massage, Hawaiian healing. But to me, this is more than my work. This is more than my job. This is a way of life, a certain philosophy of life, a life in the spirit of aloha. And a Hawaiian word, aloha, means love. Love understood as this universal force, uniting force, reverence and respect and care and vulnerability and trust and openness. All this to me is aloha. Aloha is remembering that I am a part of everything and everything is a part of me. And we are all connected in this world. Whether we want it or not, this is just what it is. We are all connected. And this is one of the things that I deeply believe in. And this is one of the answers that came to me when I kept asking myself this question over and over again over the last weeks. What do I believe in? What do I believe in? What world I want to live in? And one of these answers was, I believe in connection. I believe in the power of connection and that we are all inextricably connected. And I want to live in a world where the connection that we have can be healing. And in order for that to happen, I feel that I want to embody this connection and open my heart and be in trust and be in vulnerability, even if it feels uneasy, even if it feels hard. The moment I understood this truth, that if I want the world to be different, if I want to live in a certain kind of world, I need to birth it. I need to live a life that embodies the values that are important for me. This moment was a transformational moment for me. And I feel that when you realize this, there is no turning back. When you realize that this is your responsibility to be the world that you want to live in, then there is no turning back. And I started to see all kinds of decisions that I take through this lens, through this idea. Am I embodying right now the idea of the world that I want to live in? And I want to give you just a couple of really simple examples from my life. The first example that comes to me is social media. So a couple of months ago, I stepped back from social media, from Facebook and Instagram. I am still there a little bit, but not as much as I used to be. I took that decision for various reasons, but one of them was like, okay, I don't want to live in a world where the social media image is more important than the real image, and where virtual relationships are substitute for real relationships. And I started to feel that this is what was happening in my life. And that was a hard moment for me to realize that, okay, I am not doing what I believe in right now. I am not birthing the world that I want to live in. I don't want to live in a fake world, the world of likes and the world of this fake social media image. So I pulled myself back from that space and I'm just observing what it means for me, what it changes for me. And one of the changes that I've been observing is that my real life relationships with my friends, with my family, with my clients, with my students, even with the strangers on the street, that the quality of these relationships has changed. Another thing is my recent decision in my business to offer a sliding scale payment for my massages. So my massages, they always had a fixed price. And then I started to feel that I want to challenge myself, that I want to see how would it be to offer a wide sliding scale payment for my treatment. Because I believe that this would make my massages, on the one hand, more affordable for people who, for various reasons, can't or don't want to pay the price that I was asking for. And on the other hand, it will give a chance to those of my clients who want to pay more to show their generosity and pay more. So I'm doing that because this is the world that I want to embody. This is this kind of world that I want to live in. The world that has a different relationship with money than we have now. And where the world in which money is seen in a new, different beautiful, but also challenging way, because sliding scale payment is challenging both for me and for some of my clients, and I'm perfectly aware of that. And I don't know if this is a good business decision or not, if this is a good marketing decision or not. I have no idea. And still, I'm doing this because it's beyond the business and it's beyond the marketing. It's this experiment with life and trying to birth the world that I believe is worth living. This is also one of the reasons why I've been, for many years now, giving between 5 and 10% of my income to various charity organizations, because I believe in sharing and I believe in even the tiniest decisions that do some goodness for this world. And one of them, for me, is to share part of my money, part of my income. So right now, for example, 10% of my income for the massages in March goes to support Ukraine and the refugees. But I feel that the biggest thing in my life and the biggest change are the difficult conversations. Honest, truthful, difficult conversations. Because I want to live in a world, I think I said it already, but I want to repeat it. I want to live in a world where people don't walk away when things get difficult, when there are some difficult emotions rising up, when there are difficult words to say. I want to live in a world where people don't walk away, or where people don't pretend that everything is okay, while in fact it isn't. And I know that it's up to me to birth this world. It's up to me to have these difficult conversations, to show up, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not easy, even if it feels hurtful, even if I don't know what to say or I don't know what to do. But I don't want to walk away. And I definitely don't want to smile when I feel like crying. I don't want to pretend that things are okay when they aren't. And there are more and more examples. Teaching massage, for example. Why do I even do this in the first place? Well, I definitely feel a calling to teach Lomi Lomi, to teach massage, to help people remember what it means to touch somebody with love and respect, and how transformational and changing it can be. I definitely feel a calling for that. But I feel that this calling comes from my belief in a better world. It's about the belief in a certain way of life, in a world where touch is important. I want to live in a world where people hug each other, where people massage each other in the family. I want to live in a world where people share touch. And in order to live in this world, I need to help to create it. So one of my ways is to share massages and to teach another generation of people who will be sharing massages. So whether it's me doing full Lomi Lomi trainings for the future Lomi practitioners, or if it's me doing just trainings for people who want to massage each other in a family, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I do it because I believe that this is a change, that it makes a difference, that it is changing the world when people touch each other with love and care and respect. So one of the reasons that I'm even recording this episode, and by the way, like, to be completely honest with you right now, I have a feeling that I'm speaking in a completely incoherent way, and I'm not even sure if I am understood by you, but I hope I am, at least by some of you. But one of the reasons why I record this is to encourage you to ask yourself this question. Ask yourself this question. Put your hand on your heart. Physically, do it right now. Put your hand on your heart. Feel your heart and ask yourself honestly, what do you believe in? And what world do you want to live in? and there start birthing this world. If you want to live in a world where people have more connection with nature, then go outside and connect with nature. If you want to live in a world where people cherish their relationships and their family, then do this. Cherish your relationships with your friends and with your family. Talk to them. Tell them that you love them. Oh, this is a good example. That I want to live in a world where people tell each other when they love each other, when people tell each other when they are important to each other. So I started doing this in my family. I started to tell my parents that I love them. And that was not an easy thing at the beginning, because these were the words that were never spoken in my family. I mean, I felt loved as a child, and I still feel loved by my parents, but we never talked about it, I never heard from my father, for example, that he never said, I love you. And then I started to do this. I started to tell them when I talk to them that I love you. And slowly, gradually, and it took my parents some time, especially my father, but they say, we love you too. And I feel that is, on the one hand, it's just a tiny little change in the world. It's just one person telling other person, I love you. And, in a scale of 7 billion people, what it means nothing. And at the same time, it means everything, because I feel that I'm one step closer to the world that I want to live in. In fact, I am living in this world right now. I am living in a world when I tell my parents that I love them. The other day, I recorded a message for my friend, and I told him that I was really grateful for him being in my life, and that I find him such a beautiful human being and inspiring, and that I'm really grateful for him and that I love him deeply. And I just sent him that message. Was it a big thing to do in a scale of the world? Of course not. It was just like a 40 seconds message on Messenger. But it felt like a big thing, because I embodied something that I wanted to have in the world. I want to have people around me who openly talk about things, who openly say, you are important to me, I love you, thank you for being a part of my life. And that feels like a big change, and I believe that it is a big change. Because, the thing is that you being a change that you want to see in the world, and you birthing a new world, it's not about being a hero. It's not about doing something extraordinary or special. I mean, go for it. Do something super extraordinary or special if you want to. But you don't need to. These are really tiny, everyday things. This ordinary magic, as I call it. It's not about saving the world. It's not about huge things. It's about having your ordinary, normal life, but having a life that is lived in integrity, having a life that is lived in truth, and life that is lived with open heart and invulnerability. And yes, sometimes it means a certain level of discomfort as well, but it's worth it. And when people tell me, and recently it's more and more people telling me this, that, oh, Magdalena, you're so courageous, you're so brave to do this or to say this. I don't know if I would ever be able to do this or say this. Then my answer is that, yeah, I don't feel brave. I really want to have an ordinary life, and all I want to have, and maybe that's what feels so brave, is that I want this life to be mine. I want this life to be lived in truth and in integrity. Because even if it feels difficult, even if it feels vulnerable, even if it feels hard, then I still feel that it's easier than living your life in a lie. And it's easier than waiting for somebody to save you, for somebody to come and change your life. What if nobody ever comes and changes your life? How would you like to live your life knowing that nobody's ever going to come and save you, but you are perfectly capable of saving yourself simply by living your life in truth and in integrity? And asking yourself this question: what do I believe in? And what world I want to live in? And then start building this world bit by bit, one ordinary moment by another ordinary moment, step by step. Start being the world that you want to live in and doing the things that you believe in and embodying the life that you believe is worth living in your own integrity, in your own truth, in your own way. And I know that it all sounds beautiful and profound and whatnot, but the truth is that I fail. I fail in embodying the life that I want to live. I fail constantly. And do I go against my beliefs sometimes? Oh God, yes, of course I do. I sometimes do things that go against my beliefs. I sometimes shut off and numb myself and walk away. And I sometimes am mean and horrible, and I sometimes totally am out of integrity. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay because I am human. And what comes to me right now, to my mind, is the quote from Sherlock, BBC TV series Sherlock, which I'm a huge fan of. And there is this one episode in which Sherlock Holmes says, "It's not a pleasant thought, but I have this terrible feeling from time to time that we might all just be human." And I love this quote so much, and I feel that it just also sums up everything that I believe in. That yes, I, Magdalena, also have this terrible thought from time to time that we might all just be human, which means that sometimes we are horrible to each other, and sometimes we fail, and sometimes we hurt each other, and sometimes we shut off our hearts, and sometimes we do things that we regret. And it's okay, it's a part of being human. The question is, how are you going to show up to this? When you realize that you failed, that you hurt somebody, that you live out of integrity, what are you going to do with this? How are you going to respond to this? Because again, ask yourself what kind of world you want to build, what kind of world you want to live in. And I want to live in a world where people are allowed to be people, and that we are allowed to be humans with all the flaws that we have. And I want to live in a world where if I hurt somebody, I show up and I say that I'm sorry. And I want to live in a world where if I shut down my heart and numb myself, then I forgive myself for that. And I do my best anyhow. I want to live in a world where I forgive myself, forgive others, and just carry on living, trying my best. I sometimes say it in these episodes. I definitely said it more than once, that I'm doing my best, that I do my best, and I believe that you do your best too. This is yet another thing that I believe in. I want to believe that we do our best, And sometimes this best is really shit. But still, I want to believe that we are, as humans, do our best. And one more thing before I finish this episode. So before I started, I drew a card from a card deck that I have. It is called Hawaiian Healing Intentions. And each card has a Hawaiian word on it and the meaning of this word and one or two sentences about the meaning of this word. So I sat with myself and I drew a card with an intention of like, okay, what do I need to remember when I record this episode? What do I need to remember regarding the topic that I want to have? And the card that flew out of the deck immediately was a card with a Hawaiian word ahonui. And ahonui literally means the great breath. So a little breathing break, the great breath. But ahonui is also translated according to my Hawaiian dictionary as patience. And I want to read to you the sentence, the little description that is here on the back side of this card. And the card says, my intention is to be patient, peaceful and tolerant, and to breathe deeply, allowing all things to unfold one moment at a time. And I feel that this card and this one little word, ahonui, the great breath or patience, it is yet another reminder for me, a reminder about what I believe in and what kind of world I want to build, what kind of world I want to birth. Because I want to live in a world where we as humans, when I as Magdalena, I live from the space of my heart. And the heart doesn't always know, but the heart trusts. And this is a big challenge in my life, to be in this trust that things unfold one moment at a time, and that I don't need to have every answer to every question. I don't need to have everything planned. I don't need to have everything under control, God forbid. I want to live in a world where there is space for the great mystery and for the trust in this great mystery. I want to live in a world where I feel that I am guided and that I am protected and blessed and connected to everything that is by a power greater than all of us. And in order to be able to live in that world, I just simply need to start doing that. Step by step, one breath at a time, with trust that everything is what it is. Even if I don't understand it, even if I don't see the full picture, even if it feels unfair, even if it feels wrong, even if it feels scary, that still it is what it is. And the question is how I want to show up to this. And I feel that I'm going to stop here. A comment from Meta Level. These Meta Level comments are super interesting. But the meta level comment is that I have a feeling that this episode was absolutely about nothing, and that I was just like blubbling and mumbling and totally stumbling and really having difficulty to find the right words. But still, it was what it was. And I want to challenge myself to have trust that my words will find the right people, the people who need to hear this, and that you will understand hopefully something of this. And maybe you will even get a little bit inspired by this. So if you want to share your thoughts about this topic, about this episode, you have my email in the description of this episode. You can send me a message, and as always, I will be extremely grateful and delighted to hear your thoughts about everything that I shared with you today. And for now, I wish you a beautiful time, and I want to remind you to be the change that you want to see in the world. Thank you for you, beautiful human. And I believe that you are doing your best.